Hello, everybody. I'm Melinda Gallant, and I am so excited because we're going to have a great conversation today with a gentleman who is running for the Cape Cod Tech School Committee as a write-in candidate for the town of Bourne. He's a great guy, and when you see him and you know his name, you'll know who he is because he's just been on everybody's committee and he's been presidents of this and that and the other thing. So come along. Let's have a great Cape conversation. Hi everybody, here I am. I am sitting with a very nice gentleman that I've known for, 20 years maybe?
Oh, it's getting closer to 40.
It's getting closer to 40. Anyway, he actually is known as now, he used to be known as himself, but now he's known as the father of David Sampson. And I'm sitting with David Sampson. David, how are you? Good to see you. I am so glad to be sitting with you here today.
Well, I'm glad I am here too. We have had a lot of history. It's a lot of good history in the community.
Oh, yep, we have.
We started, I remember at Mashpee Commons,
oh my God. A concert where the light poles fell down.
I felt so bad for you. I thought you were going to lose your job over
I almost did.
We had literally thousands of kids there.
We did. And a police officer in Mashpee got bit by a wild young girl who was like 14.
Oh, really?
Who they tried to take out or something. I don't know. Yeah. Oh my God, it was crazy. Lots of fun though. Yeah, oh my God, we had fun. Lots and lots of fun. But you're here for a specific reason.
I am.
And it's a really good reason. Yeah. You're a write-in candidate, is that correct?
Correct.
For the school committee, the Upper Cape Tech School Committee.
Correct. If there are no candidates for a position, and there are none for this position, you can run as a write-in candidate, and essentially anyone interested in voting for you would simply writes their name into the place on the ballot for our Upper Cape Tech. This year for all of the 5 towns. The same thing will appear for all of the 5 towns. And the towns are Bourne, Sandwich, Falmouth, Wareham, and Marion.
Wow. Marion?
Marion, yes.
I didn't realize that. So Marion pays into the Upper Cape Tech?
Right. Those are the 5 towns that make up Upper Cape Tech. And all of the school committee representatives are elected at large. So that means that everyone, if a candidate is running for a school committee, all of the voters in all of those 5 towns have the opportunity to vote, regardless of where that person is from. So the committee is comprised there are 9 individuals. I believe it's 2 from Sandwich, 2 from Wareham, 2 from Bourne, and I'm not sure what the rest of them are. Yeah. But for this year, there are 4 candidates. And from Sandwich, it's Mike Deegan, who was an incumbent, and there's one from Wareham and one from Falmouth, I believe, in addition to the vacancy from Bourne. So there will be a name in each one of those 4. There's a section that says Regional School, Upper Cape, and it'll give the name of the town. So next to each one of those candidates is the name of the town they're from. And for the place where Bourne is, there will be no name in there because there's no one running. So that's the spot that I want.
That's the spot.
That's the spot I would like people to write David Sampson in.
Excellent.
And it's very important that there's a little oval place there that if there's a name there, you just check it off.
Right.
But in this case, you have to write my name.
Oh, we have to work.
And then, yes, it is, yeah. And check it off.
Yeah.
And the reason you have to check it off is because it tells the machine, hey, this is different. Somebody's in a spot where there isn't any candidate, and it kicks that ballot out, and that's how they count.
I see.
So if you don't check it off, you write my name in, but don't check it off, it just, nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
It doesn't kick it out.
I see, okay. Now, I have a question for you. So you were principal of that school?
When I first came here, I was principal.
Yeah.
I was principal for about 8 years, I think. And then I was appointed as superintendent, and I was superintendent from 1985 to 2001.
Excellent. Yeah.
16 years.
So you know a lot about the school.
I think so, yeah. You know, at one time, I was just going to say young David, but that's not right. David knew more about that school than I did in terms of what was in the grounds and everything, because he would come to school with me, to work with me in the summertime in our school vacations, and he'd spend the day off with the maintenance people and
doing the maintenance work.
Well, I don't know how much of the work he did, but he knew what was going on.
Yeah, there you go.
So he knew where every pipe was buried.
Oh, that's great.
Every pipe was buried and everything. But yeah, you know, these schools were built in the 60s and 70s. There were a total of 27 of them that were established, regional technical schools in the state of Massachusetts, established and built, all brand new facilities. So when I came to the school in 1976, it had only been open for a few years.
Oh my goodness.
In 2019, the school will be celebrating its 50th anniversary.
Oh my gosh.
Of which 25 of those years I was in a leadership position.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
And I hadn't realized that till I thought about when I was thinking about this a little bit. That's a long time.
Yeah, it is a long time.
So you get invested in something, and even, you know, when I left because I was recruited to do something else, it was good for me at the time.
Sure.
I certainly had mixed feelings about leaving. You know, I was certainly on a high. I could have stayed. I could still be there today if I wanted to, I think.
Yeah.
But you know, I left because I wanted to do something different. You don't lose the connections you had. The people, I had an unbelievable staff, administrative staff and teaching staff, really, really good people. Some of those are still there.
Margie Duffy used to work there.
Yes, yes.
Yeah?
Yes. Margie is still there.
No way.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yep, she works in the superintendent's office.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. She worked at Mashpee Commons for a while.
A lot of good people. A lot of them have retired. So I mean, it's almost a handful of people that were there while I was there. But we had good staff and we had a good team. People I could depend on.
Sure.
And I was proud to work with. So I never really lost touch with the school. Our Rotary Club meets there on Thursday mornings.
Well, I know that. I've been there for asking for money from the Rotary Club and asking for money for the Rotary Club for something. So I've been to them.
So I get to walk in and out of the school at least once a week, you know. So I've got some sense of what's going on. Bob Dutch is the current superintendent, is a member of our Rotary Club, and we have a good relationship. And it's interesting to continue to see what's going on. So I never really had a plan to do this.
Yeah.
I became aware of the vacancy. I knew that there was no one running. I know what the process is if nobody does do something. Essentially, if there's a vacancy and it's not at election time, the school committee of the local town and the selectmen get together and they appoint somebody. And we've had several people appointed that way, and that doesn't really give the voters a chance to say yes or no, you know?
Right.
Well,
it's kind of a thankless job. I mean, I always thought the school committee, like the school committee for Sandwich High School, let's take that school committee. I think it's a thankless job. I mean, those people run and you know, they're trying to do the best for the school system and they're trying to do the best, you know, for the kids and all that. But they never can win. So how does that work? Is it the same way? To me, that's how it appears to me. I mean, there's always somebody who's got a better idea or criticism. Not that they're running for school committee, mind you. So how does that work when it comes to the tech school? Is it kind of the same way as the school committee, or is it more run like a business, for lack of a better term?
I think that when you're on any task, let's say, whether it be a school committee or the board of directors of a bank or a hospital or whatever, that if you have a commonality of purpose, it's easy for us to have disagreements and still come to a resolution. Sometimes it gets to be adversarial, and it's hard to break out of that. So I think the task is to not let it get adversarial. You and I have disagreed about things over time, but we've never ever had animosity towards each other.
No.
Because we understand that it's okay to have different ideas.
Right.
But in the end, we've got to get it worked out.
We have to solve the problem.
Yeah.
Right.
And do what's right for whatever our cause is.
Right.
And I have been on bank boards, and I have been on hospital boards, and I've been president of Rotary and president of the chamber, and all of those things.
All that stuff.
I got a whole, you know what my list is.
Yeah.
And I've found that working with people is a lot easier than working against people. And I've been in skirmishes where I really thought I was right and I wanted to stick by it, but in the end we always get it figured out.
Sure.
And if you keep the cause up front,
right,
then the rest of it gets worked out. So can it be stressful? I'm sure. I've never been a school committee member, but I've worked with a lot of school committee members, and I've been at a lot of school.
So you've seen the good ones and you've seen the not so good ones.
Yeah. And I'll tell you something. We had a lot of really good, strong school committee members in the period of time I was there. I mean, knowledgeable people that would challenge you. Rose Merritt from Bourne, who was a strong advocate for minorities in our community. She was, you had to love Rose. She was no nonsense.
Yeah. Well, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. And when she said to me, "David, I want to see you in your office," I knew.
It's like going to the principal.
I was in for a tongue lashing, yeah. But she was a great lady, and we talk about someone that says, let's talk about how it is, and then we'll come to work. But you learn to work with people. Sure. And we had some really strong people that did a great job for us. So you're going to be a write-in candidate, and you have to write your name in, and then you have to do the little circle, the little oval. You have to make sure you color that in so it gets counted. But why? What do you want to bring to the table? Well, I'm glad 18 years has passed since I left there, because I don't have any inclination about wanting to run the school.
There you go. Right. You want them to do their jobs.
Yeah. But I think that I have a perspective of the community that is valuable. I've got a good deal of financial experience. I was on the board of Plymouth Savings Bank. I was on the board of Eastern Bank. I am currently treasurer for the Workforce Development Board of the Cape and Islands. I was a member of the Sandwich Finance Committee for a few years. So the financial piece I've got a good handle on, and I think I can be helpful there. I have a lot of personnel experience, and I think I can be helpful there. So, I used the term the other day, I want to help the school be the best that it can be, and nothing else.
Yeah, and that's very good. That's a good thing. A lot of times school committees or those kinds of committees can come in and say, especially maybe a member, maybe one or two members, well, this is the way it should be run. And I've always thought that, the best way to get power, because they want power, but the best way to get power is to empower, other folks to be able to do what they want to do, and help to guide them, I guess. So essentially that's what you're saying. You want to be a part of that guiding force.
I don't think about power much. I've been in a lot of roles where I had the opportunity to have a lot of impact. But I think if you focus on how much power you have, you kind of lose sight of where you want to go.
Yeah, and what is power anyway?
Yeah,
especially at a small at a tech
Yeah.
school or on Cape
Yeah.
Cod. I mean, in the scheme of life,
Yeah,
the world, the
compared
universe.
compared to some of the other things that have been in my life,
Yeah.
and currently, I
Yeah.
mean, you know that I'm not sitting around.
Yeah, I
you
know you're not.
And I have to carve out time to do this.
Yeah.
This isn't
Right.
this isn't the top of the pile.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
And not that it's not important. I don't want to be glib about that.
No,
I'm
no, of course
I'm
not.
trying to be.
Yeah.
But no, power isn't the issue for me.
Okay, so what are you doing now? I mean, you were superintendent of schools, you left there, it's been 18 years. What are you into? I mean, I know
Well,
you're doing a lot of, you do a lot of nonprofit work and
I do.
that.
We own some investment property, so that takes a fair amount of
Yeah.
my time. I have been in the construction business a
Oh,
little
that's
bit.
right. I forgot about that. Sure, of course.
It kind of spilled off from workers that we had working on our properties,
Yep.
and with a little bit of downtime, and all of a sudden this thing developed, and we're like, what?
Yeah.
But I've tried to stop doing that. To be honest with you, we have some collector cars, and I really want to start spending some time with it. And I've been saying that for 3 years, and I haven't turned a wrench yet. But we're that's the objective.
Oh, that's great.
That's where I want to be.
I thought maybe you'd be working at the Wish Company or something.
David has not recruited me over there yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to.
Yeah.
So I'm doing that, but I am still involved.
And you live in Bourne.
I do, yes.
Yes, yeah.
But I was on the board of Falmouth Hospital for a number of years
Yeah.
until the merger.
Yeah.
And then when the merger took place, I went onto the board of Cape Cod Healthcare.
Right.
Was there for the full term of what you can be there, which is
Yeah,
12 years.
right.
And I termed out, currently I'm still in the finance committee for Cape Cod Healthcare.
Oh my gosh.
I'm a treasurer for the Workforce Development Board. I'm on the executive board of the board of directors of the Kelly Foundation. Rotary.
Yeah.
is
Which
still
takes
in-
a lot of your time, I think.
It does, and I'm currently the vice chair for the Rotary Leadership Institute of Northeast America, which
Oh,
is
my goodness.
which is all of Northeast America.
Right.
And there are 15 sites where we have training programs for Rotary leaders that I'm responsible for.
That's wonderful.
So
You're always pitching the Rotary Club.
yes, I am. Yeah, it's been a big part of my life.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been a Rotarian for about 45 years.
Oh my gosh. Now, do you really go to meetings when you're away?
I will go to a meeting away if it's convenient. It's
Yeah.
not always, you have to be in the right town on the right day.
Right.
So if that happens, yeah.
Yeah, you will go.
Yeah.
Do you still get penalized if you? That was always the reason why I wouldn't
Well,
join.
it's actually there were
changed
there were
it.
a number of things that changed about Rotary. First of all, women are in Rotary.
Yeah. Well, they weren't in Kiwanis
When
either, and I was president
when
of Kiwanis.
when I came to Rotary, it was all men.
Yeah.
And then somewhere in the 80s, that changed. And I can tell you, our Rotary Club, Bourne Sandwich Rotary Club, is not a big club. It's about 20 members. And,
that's a nice size,
And
though.
it's been as high as 32 members. And that was when we had a female president,
See?
someone that we know well. And she did a great job. So now we're about 20 members, but I think we're more than 50% women.
Is that right?
Yeah, and I'll tell you honestly that without those women, our club wouldn't exist.
Well, women get sometimes a bad rap.
Yes, they do.
So I think we're pretty special.
Yeah, no, I do too. I can't disagree with you there.
But I mean, that's great. Having all those activities, I mean, you certainly bring a nonprofit perspective to a school committee. I mean, a school committee isn't there to make money. I mean,
Right,
you're there to
right,
manage
right.
what is already there and help, again, guide them.
Yeah.
Well, the programs, What are some of the programs? Do you know what they are at Cape Tech?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's quite a list. I mean, it's close
Yeah,
to 20.
I understand that.
But there are some. Let me tell you about some of the things I think that are really good that are going on there
Okay,
now that
that's
I'm
what
aware of.
yeah. That's what I wanna
only
hear.
I'm aware of them as a citizen because
Yeah.
I'm not involved. But you know, I know that their athletic program is very strong now, and it's that's a strength for them, and a credit to Barry Motter and to who was superintendent after me, and to Bob Dutch as well. That it brought in a whole different kind of student to the school. That the students had a real strong interest in athletics, stayed at their home school because Upper Cape Tech didn't have good programs, strong programs.
Right,
Not
right.
Good is not the right word.
Right.
And they're winning championships and
Yeah, they
great
sure are.
facilities and they're investing a fair amount of money in it, and for good reason.
Right.
They're trying to the evening program is very strong.
For adults primarily?
For adults and for other populations. Pat McCarlin, who's the director of that, has done an outstanding job of developing that program. And they've literally thousands of people in this program, various kinds of online programs and.
Well, you can get certifications. I know that at one time when I was working for Mashpee Commons, I actually thought about getting the wastewater treatment certificate because I was running a wastewater treatment facility, and I was certainly learning a lot about it, but I just could have used a little more knowledge. But I mean, all of those kinds of that actually help regular people, the working schmo out there. It helps them, get a better job.
And as we talked about earlier, the drama is there as an activity. There are a lot of activities going on that are different from what existed before. They've been on an extensive building program and have added smaller buildings outside of the main building in order to make more classroom space.
Oh, wow. Are they portable?
No, they're fully constructed buildings.
Wow.
And,
so it's like a campus?
Yeah, and much of it is built by students.
No, well, I know that the students, I think they built the gazebo or had something to do with the gazebo in Mashpee or something, I think.
Yeah, they may have. I'm not sure of that.
Yeah, but I know they do a lot of that.
Yep.
I mean, what better experience than actually building a building?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, that's terrific.
You see, these youngsters are going out and they're going to work. They're not. This isn't hobby work.
No.
They're going to go out. If they're carpenters, they're going to go out and swing a hammer.
Right.
And if you don't do it, you don't know how to do it.
Right.
You can't take it all out of a book.
Right.
So
So do you? There are students there that go on to college, right? Go on to either 2 or 4 year program.
Yeah, and that's a strong focus for the school. The kids have a lot of opportunities to go on to. I use the word kids in a positive way. The students. I use the term kids for anybody under the age of 50. So what can I tell you? But a lot of opportunities for college, and they have a much higher percentage of students go on to college now. I don't know exactly what it is, but I know there's a great focus on that.
Right.
And a lot of the kids being very successful that way.
So what do you want to bring to the table? What are you bringing to the table? What are you going to do to help that school and make it better?
Well, first of all, I'm going to listen.
There you go. That's unusual.
Because I've been away from it for a long time, and I have to get a better understanding of where the school is now from a school committee perspective, where it is financially, and where they are programmatically. So I've got a lot to learn in terms of what I knew of the school isn't necessarily applicable today, and then find out where I can be helpful and participate that way. I want to be supportive of things that are good for kids.
So if I live in Falmouth, and my 8th grader right, comes to me and says, I don't know if I want to go to Falmouth High School. So is that like school choice, or is that different?
No, school choice is totally different. The school is owned by the 5 communities.
I see.
And the students, as a matter of right, can apply to that school from any of the 5 towns.
I see. Okay.
And
which makes it different than school choice. I want to go to Barnstable High School.
Right. Yeah. There is an application process and a screening process, right now it's hard to get in that school.
Is that right?
They've got I think close to 700 students.
Wow. I had no idea.
Yeah, and I could be a little bit off. I mean, but and they're turning students away because they can't accommodate as many students as apply.
No talk of a new. No talk of a new school or anything.
No, not in terms of a completely new building, but they've done a lot of work of extending their capability by the construction that they've done around the
other
school.
buildings. Yeah. That's amazing. Well, I want to wish you the best of luck. So it's David Sampson and the little thing for born in the little slot.
Yep. There'll be a section of the ballot.
So you have to have a pen with you.
No, they provide one to you.
They provide a pen for you. You don't even have to bring a pen. That's even better.
So there's a block that says regional school.
Right.
And under that block, there will be 4 spaces.
Right.
3 of them have names. This is easy.
Yeah.
The one that has no name in it. Right?
David Sampson.
That's the one I want.
Right.
But David Sampson, and fill in the little over.
Right. And it's Sampson.
Correct.
We got it.
Okay.
David, thank you.
Thank you.
So good to see you. Thank you for coming on Cape Conversation. Wasn't David Sampson terrific? Oh my gosh, what an interesting guy and an old friend. I'm telling you right now, write his name in Bourne for David Sampson. Mark, you got to do that little circle on the ballot. And let's get him elected to the Cape Cod Tech School Committee. He knows a lot about the schools since he worked there as well, and he knows a lot about the community, and I think he'll bring a lot to the table to help the Cape Cod Tech schools. So I'm so glad you joined me today, and hey, watch out for another Cape Conversations.